The following video was recorded on the night of October 3rd, 2022. A man began hearing sounds outside his window and down the hallway, the kind of noises that are easy to dismiss until they're not. He'd been putting off documenting anything in his home because of an unexpected death in the family, but something kept pushing through, demanding to be noticed. That second night, he sat on his bed in the dark with his camera rolling, whispering about noises he'd heard earlier. Something like grunting, something like a dog coming from his sister's room. Nobody was supposed to be home. Watch.
I heard something out here. I can't see shit through this fucking screen. Can't see nothing through the goddamn screen. What is that? Water? God, this thing is... It's not... Well, I guess it is a window, too. God dang, that thing is fucking filthy. Hello? Hello? Oh, Jesus. It's just my lighter. Somebody like, I don't know, moving stuff around in my sister's room. It sounded like they were home, I thought. But then I heard like a grunting sound of like a dog grunting sound, but Chimera's on the couch just asleep. So yeah. Say about that one. I don't like these open. Come on, bitch. Jesus. I don't like that shit being open. Creeps me out, man. I don't know why. Ouch. I can fix that. Am I hearing things? It's like a low rumble. Fun. Fun. David. It's not funny, guys. Hello? Hello? Fucking chills. Hello? Fun? Fun. Ooh, man. The chills, dude. How bad. Oh, dude. I don't like that, man. I think I'm gonna go somewhere. Yeah. So the first clip of my door opening got cut short because my stupid phone ran out of storage space, and so it just stops recording. But I didn't find anything in the house anyways, just
nothing. And then the next night it happened again, and still didn't find anything, just the door opening. And nothing afterwards either. Well, I was telling my sister about it. That's when she shows me the clip of in her room. Now, if you pay attention, it even shows it in the reflection of the mirror on the wall, on the, the closet doors. You can see it. I don't know what it is, but the blinking light, that's my sister's boyfriend's phone notifying that there's a detection of a person moving in the room. If anyone's familiar with Ring cameras, you can set it to the sensitivity of an animal and a person. And so when it notifies you, it's going to be either an animal or a person. This one said person. And then you see that whatever it is almost looks like it dives under the bed. But you can see it clear as day in the reflection too. So it's kind of weird. I've never seen anything like that before yet.
The closed bedroom door swings open on its own, and immediately after, a deep, guttural growl fills the room, lasting nearly 2 full seconds with no visible source anywhere in the hallway. He calls out names, gets no answer, and comes back to his bedroom saying he has chills running up his arm. Now, here's where it gets harder to dismiss. His sister later shows him security footage from her Ring camera, shot in infrared in the same home, and in that footage a small, fast-moving orb of light appears on the left side of the frame, darts across the room toward the bed where someone is sleeping, and vanishes. It reappears seconds later, moving erratically near the nightstand. He points out in his follow-up explanation that the orb is even visible in the reflection of the mirrored closet doors, and that the Ring camera's motion sensitivity was set specifically to detect a person, not an animal, and triggered accordingly. Some viewers think the orb is simply a lens artifact or light reflection, and that the door opened because of air pressure in an older home. Others aren't so sure because pressure doesn't growl and lens artifacts don't get flagged by motion detection software as a person. If you focus on the orb's movement, the way it darts and then doubles back, it doesn't behave the way reflected light typically does. What exactly was moving through that bedroom while someone slept? In this next clip, a stationary camera is set up inside a room that was once part of a pediatric ward, a space that now looks ordinary on the surface, repurposed, renovated, folded into the modern structure of the hospital, but still carrying a history that, according to those who work there, has never fully settled. Back in the 1980s, a young boy reportedly passed in that very hospital from appendicitis, and while decades have passed and the building itself has changed, the stories tied to that child have remained, passed quietly between staff, repeated often enough that they've become part of the hospital's unofficial reality. The woman who shared this footage explains that her mother works on what used to be that same pediatric floor, and over time, she has witnessed and heard about a pattern of strange activity that seems unusually specific. Electronics malfunctioning without cause, a code blue button being triggered in one particular room with no emergency present, drawers opening, objects being disturbed. At one point, even a box of cupcakes left on the floor was found shaken, as though something had deliberately interfered with it. And beyond staff experiences, patients themselves have reported something even more unsettling, describing a young boy running through the halls at night, appearing in their rooms, sometimes peeking through windows, and, in some accounts, having something painted across his face, a detail that adds a layer of unease that no one has been able to explain. Then, this was captured. Watch. The bottom drawer of that filing cabinet begins to slide open on its own, slow, smooth, deliberate, stopping about 3/4 of the way out and staying there. No rattling, no vibration, no one in the room. If you watch carefully, there's no jerk or stutter to the movement, which is exactly what makes a simple string or mechanical trick difficult to argue here. Some viewers think it's residual energy, the kind that attaches to workspaces where routines repeat for years. Others aren't convinced, but you be the judge. The following clips all come from the same home, a modern apartment where, for some time now, one woman has been living with something she can't explain, and the security cameras she set up to document it have caught far more than she bargained for. It started with sounds. At 2:30 in the morning on March 25th, she was alone in the laundry room, bent over an appliance, going about her night like any other, when something stopped her cold. Watch. Just before a loud, sharp, metallic bang rings out from somewhere in that small room, a faint, high-pitched sound slips through the audio. Brief, almost childlike, easy to dismiss as static if you're not listening closely. She jumps, stands upright immediately, and spends the rest of the clip glancing back over her shoulder, clearly unsettled. The source of the bang is never identified. Nothing falls, nothing moves, and her hands are still inside the machine when it happens. Some viewers who heard that subtle sound before the bang think it resembles a child's giggle, which only deepens the unease. Whether it's a trick of the recording or something else entirely is genuinely hard to say. That alone is disturbing enough. But it wasn't a one-night thing. On a different evening, she was lying in bed when her indoor security camera, the small dome-shaped one mounted on the wall, began to move on its own. She grabbed her phone. Watch.
Tengo miedo.
The camera pans slowly left, tilts upward, then sweeps back to the right in a smooth, deliberate arc, as if something is using it to scan the room. She swings her phone across the ceiling, the dresser, the bathroom doorway, and in a shaking, frightened voice, she says, "Tengo miedo. I'm scared." PTZ cameras can be accessed remotely, and skeptics were quick to point that out. But she insists no one else had access to the device, and her reaction, the frantic sweep of the room, the trembling audio, doesn't look like someone playing a prank on themselves. Then, during the day, the activity crossed a line. She was in the living room in her scrubs, wiping down the kitchen counter, when something happened that's harder to rationalize away. Watch closely. As she walks past the corner of the sectional sofa, her feet are violently swept out from under her. She flips over the back of it, legs thrown into the air, landing out of sight behind the couch. The movement is abrupt and forceful in a way that doesn't match a trip or a stumble. Some viewers immediately called it a wire pull and pointed to the meme-style text overlaid on the footage as evidence it was staged for social media. Others weren't so sure. They noted the initial security camera angle is consistent with genuine footage, and her scramble away from the sofa area looks like someone moving out of instinct, not performance. You decide. The incidents kept coming. That same night, she was on the phone in the kitchen when a loud bang rang out, and she told the person on the other end of the call that the bedroom door had just opened on its own, then said, "And there's nobody here." Later, while she was reading quietly on the sofa wrapped in a blanket, something happened that cut through whatever sense of calm she had left. Watch.
¡Ay, no! Se abrió la puerta del cuarto. ¿Lo escuchaste? Oye, ya no hay respeto. Y no hay nadie, ¿eh?
Le respondí, estaré con él en el momento de angustia, lo libraré, lo llenaré de promesa, lo formaré con muchos años de vida y le haré gozar de mi salvación.
A black beanie flies into the frame from off-screen and lands directly on her head with a sharp snap, and she lets out a short, high-pitched scream. She sits completely frozen for several seconds before lying down and pulling the blanket over herself. A door slamming and an object launching across a room with enough force to startle someone. That pattern has a name in paranormal research. Poltergeist activity, from the German for noisy ghost, is traditionally associated with repeated physical disturbances in a domestic space. Objects moving, sounds with no origin, things escalating over time rather than occurring as a single event. This apartment fits that profile almost exactly. It didn't stop there. On another night, she was on the sofa with her laptop when, before anything moved, a deep and distorted voice bled through the room's ambient noise. Slow, garbled, and impossible to place. Then, this happened. Watch. A small object launches violently across the floor from near the fireplace with a sharp whoosh, and she throws both hands to her head, flinching hard in the direction it came from. No one is visible near the fireplace. She grabs her things and starts packing up from the sofa immediately. That distorted voice, low, processed sounding, unintelligible, is the detail that unsettled a lot of viewers the most, because it doesn't match the sound profile of anything else in the room. Some think it was a speaker or a TV bleed. Others weren't willing to go there. And then came the night that finally broke her. She was in her dark bedroom, phone in hand, filming from under the blanket, too afraid to get up. If you listen to her whispered audio, she's trembling. "I'm trembling with fear," she says. "I think there's someone behind the door, or something. Watch."
Obviamente no me voy a levantar a ver qué es, pero tengo miedo, estoy temblando del miedo. Sin pasar. ¡Eh! No mames.
imaginación, no miré mal. Pero salí corriendo de ahí porque ya no puedo. Ya no puedo, ya no sé qué hacer. Son las 4 de la mañana. Pero sé que había algo ahí, sé que miré algo y no estoy loca. No estoy loca. Tengo que entrar a trabajar al rato y no he dormido nada. Estoy nerviosa, no sé qué está pasando.
At the bottom of the door, where a thin sliver of hallway light cuts through, a solid dark shadow, shaped like the bottom of legs or feet, moves quickly from right to left and vanishes. She gasps, whispers, "No way," and doesn't move. The footage then cuts to her in a car at 4 in the morning, crying, saying she ran out of the apartment. "I know I saw something and I'm not crazy," she says through tears. "I'm not crazy." What followed that breakdown might be the most disturbing part of the whole story. A text message exchange shown at the end of the clip reveals that 3 people have died in that apartment complex since 2022, with 3 separate incidents involving gunshots since 2024. Whether that history has anything to do with what she's been experiencing is something worth sitting with, because the question isn't really whether the apartment has a dark past. It clearly does. The question is what, if anything, that past left behind, and whether whatever's in that home is done making itself known, or whether she was right to run. The following video was recorded by a mother who began experiencing something she couldn't quite explain. A sudden, overwhelming sense of anxiety that seemed to come out of nowhere while she was at home with her baby. It wasn't tied to any noise or visible movement at first, just a heavy feeling that something wasn't right. On this particular day, it was just her and her son in the house, sitting together and watching a movie. Everything calm and completely normal. But then, something small caught her attention. The bathroom door. The last time she had looked at it, it had been slightly shut. Now, it was wide open. That subtle change was enough to make her uneasy, and instead of brushing it off, she reached for her phone and started recording, trying to understand what had changed. Watch closely.
Please go away. You're not wanted. Go away. Wherever you are, go away. Spooky? Psst, 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 psst. Spook?
At first, nothing seemed obvious, but when she reviewed the footage later, she noticed something she hadn't seen in the moment. Right at the entrance of the bathroom, a distinct shadow-like figure appears briefly, moving quickly enough that it's easy to miss if you're not paying close attention. Some believe this could be a shadow entity, something that manifests in quick, fleeting movements, often seen at the edges of vision or during moments of heightened awareness. But I'll let you be the judge. This next video was recorded by a Ring camera inside the home of a woman named Jennifer, who owns a beautiful historic house dating all the way back to 1907, filled with antique pieces that go as far back as 1903. It's the kind of home that carries history in every corner, but not all of that history feels at rest. Not long after moving in, Jennifer began noticing things she couldn't explain. Soft footsteps when no one else was home, faint whispering drifting from empty rooms, and objects that seemed to shift slightly when she wasn't looking directly at them. Concerned, she reached out to several mediums, and strangely, they all told her the same thing. They sensed children in the house. One night, her Ring camera captured something that made those claims even harder to dismiss. Watch. The first thing people noticed were the large orbs forming inside the dollhouse, something that already feels unsettling on its own. But then, the dollhouse camera itself shifts position, and that's not all. At the very beginning of the video, as the cat walks down the stairs, some viewers notice something else, the faint sound of what appears to be a man coughing. Jennifer later revealed that the family who previously owned the house passed away tragically, which immediately shifted how people interpreted the footage. Because if multiple mediums sense children, and there's an unexplained adult presence heard in the background, then what exactly is still in that house? Some believe there may be more than one presence, and not all of them are children. So is this a case of a family that never truly left, or something else entirely, using their memory to remain unseen? You decide. Now, in this next clip, a man finds himself doing something that doesn't make sense to the people around him, sleeping out almost every night, moving from one friend's place to another, rarely ever going back to his own home. At first, his friends didn't think much of it. Maybe he just enjoyed the company. Maybe he didn't like being alone. But after a while, the pattern became too obvious to ignore. Day after day, he kept avoiding his own house, so they started asking questions, and he quickly realized something. This wasn't the kind of situation you could explain with words, because no matter how serious you sounded, no matter how detailed you tried to be, it would still sound unbelievable. So instead of explaining it, he showed them. Watch this. objects aren't just falling, they're being flung across the room. Glass shatters, plates are thrown, chairs move with force as if something unseen is tearing through the space with intent. And according to him, this wasn't a one-time thing. This had been happening repeatedly, turning his home into what he described as a living nightmare. He would hear loud crashes at night, wake up to rooms completely destroyed, and sometimes even feel like something was moving through the house while he was still inside, forcing him to leave just to feel safe. There were moments where doors would slam shut behind him as he tried to leave, and times when he claimed he heard low, unintelligible sounds, almost like something trying to speak but never fully forming words. Some viewers have suggested that this could be a case of a demonic presence, and if that's true, then what he captured might just be the beginning. So is leaving the house the only option he has left? You be the judge. In this next video, a woman named Maddie is casually recording content, completely focused on what she's doing, when something happens that instantly shifts the entire mood. Listen closely.
What the fuck is that? Oh my god, what the fuck is that? My speaker's right here. My speaker's right here. What the fuck is that? Am I schizophrenic? Dude, someone just talked behind me. I just heard myself echo back.
A voice can be heard, but people can't seem to agree on what it actually says. Some hear, "What's your name?" Others are convinced it says, "Look behind you." And a few even believe it sounds like, "What do you mean?" But no matter what people hear, everyone agrees on one thing. There was a voice. This is where things start to feel especially unsettling, because many believe this could be an example of what's often referred to as a mimic. A presence that doesn't just make noise, but uses human-like voices to get attention, confuse, or even lure a reaction. These kinds of entities are often described as unpredictable, sometimes repeating phrases, other times creating entirely new ones, but always with one goal: to be heard. And once they are acknowledged, the activity can escalate. Now, in this next video, a man shares something he captured at his former workplace, a company that had recently been shut down under unclear circumstances. He never fully explained why the business closed, which already raised questions, but according to him, while he worked there, strange things were constantly happening. There were moments where he and his coworkers would hear unexplained noises in empty areas, tools going missing and reappearing in odd places, and an uncomfortable feeling that certain parts of the building were off limits, even though no one ever said it out loud. But what made it worse were the accidents. He claims that both he and others experienced incidents that didn't feel random: sudden injuries, equipment malfunctioning at the wrong time, things going wrong in ways that felt almost targeted. And over time, he started to believe that whatever was in that building wasn't just present, it was hostile. One day, while passing by on his way home, he decided to stop and take one last look. Watch.
At least I know I'm not crazy. Because there's definitely somebody standing right there. And now they're gone. Tell me I'm fucking not nuts. And now they're back. You see it? tell me I'm fucking crazy. That's the creepiest shit I've ever seen in my life. Absolutely not.
Inside the building, there's a figure standing, and he later said that this confirmed what he had believed for a long time, that there were demons in that building, something that had been there even while people were still working inside. But, like always, I'll leave you to be the judge on this one. In this next video, a group of friends gather at one of their homes, planning nothing more than a relaxed evening, catching up, playing games, and unwinding after a long day. The atmosphere is light, filled with laughter and casual conversation, the kind of moment where nothing out of the ordinary is expected. At some point during the hangout, the host begins to share some of the strange things she's been experiencing in the house. Small, unsettling incidents that she hasn't been able to explain. She talks about hearing movement when no one is around, objects not being where she left them, and that constant feeling that something is off. But instead of taking her seriously, her friends laugh it off. Then something happens. Watch closely.
Tiempo a jugar. Yo.
Sí, yo sí.
In that moment, everything changed. The laughter stopped and everyone had to leave, because what was just a story seconds ago is now happening right in front of them. Now this next clip is about another deeply unsettling situation, inside a woman's house where something had quietly been appearing for weeks without ever fully revealing itself. Watch closely.
It's outside. What the? Too scared to open my door.
In the reflection of her glass door, you can see what looks like the outline of someone standing outside, completely still, as if they were waiting. Not knocking, not moving, just standing there. Her dogs noticed it too, and sometimes they barked aggressively toward the door, their instincts telling them something was wrong, and other times they simply froze, staring in complete silence. This continued every other evening, always at roughly the same time, and the longer it went on, the more it began to feel less like coincidence and more like intention. Eventually, curiosity got the better of her. One evening, determined to prove it was just a neighbor or someone passing by, she walked up to the door and opened it without hesitation. But the moment she looked outside, there was no one there. No footsteps, no one walking away, just empty space. And this is where many people believe the real mistake happened. It's often said that opening the door to something unknown can be seen as an invitation, not a verbal one, but a symbolic one. An act of acknowledgement, and a moment where the boundary between inside and outside is willingly broken. What makes this even more unsettling is what happened next. After that night, the figure stopped appearing completely, the reflections were gone, and the dog stopped reacting. Everything returned to normal, and for a while, she believed it was over. But weeks later, something new began.
Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. I told you. Come here.
Gabe, it's your mom. You should come out. You've been in there for so long. Gabe, come out. Gabe, it's your mother.
Then what's your name then?
She started hearing voices inside the house. At first, they were faint and distant, easy to dismiss, but over time they became clearer. Sometimes the voice sounded like her, other times like her friends, and then one day it sounded like her mother. That was the moment it crossed a line. In the video, she confronts it directly, asking it what her mom's name is, and for a moment, it went quiet. Shortly after that confrontation, she made the decision to leave the house entirely. She never confirmed exactly what happened next, but many believe the silence wasn't the end. Now we can only hope that whatever forced her to leave that home didn't follow her to the next one. In the following clip, a woman finally decides to share what her life has been like recently. Not because she wants attention, but because the things happening around her have reached a point where keeping it to herself no longer feels safe. For a while, she would notice blinds slightly out of place, hear faint sounds near the windows late at night, and occasionally feel like someone was standing just outside, watching. At first, she tried to convince herself it was nothing, maybe wind, maybe her imagination, but the feeling never really went away. One night, they caught this on camera. Watch closely.
Alright, my daughter's room is up there, and we keep seeing some... Alright, put your flashlight up. Alright, flash it up there. Oh, now it's gone. Put your flashlight down. Let's see if it'll do it again. Alright, put it up, hurry. Oh.
You can clearly see a figure slowly peeping through the blinds with its fingers on the blind. But then, the moment she shines a flashlight in that direction, it's gone. If something can physically interact with the blinds and then vanish without a trace, then it's not just passing by, it's choosing when to be seen. And if it was already close enough to look inside, then how long had it been standing there before the camera caught it? And what does it want from the family? Until more updates are shared, this remains a mystery. The following video is about Nate, someone many viewers already recognize for the strange and often unsettling activity that seems to follow him wherever he goes. Over time, people began pointing something out to him, that he might be giving whatever it is too much attention, and that constantly reacting to it could actually be making things worse. So he decided to try something different. He started ignoring it. No reactions, no engagement, just going about his day like nothing was there. But that didn't last long because one morning, this happened. Watch.
Alright. So you people tell me to ignore things, so... Tell me what the fuck that is. I have things going on in here and in the bathroom right above me, or some upstairs above me at the same time. But, you know, I'll just ignore it. And it's not as simple as people think. Unless people experience these things, then it's not as easy as just ignoring it when the shit happens to you. I'm working on it.
Once again, you can hear faint whispers in the background, unclear but definitely there. And what makes this moment even more unsettling is that just seconds before he started recording, the cabinet where the cup falls from was completely closed. Moments like this are why many believe that attention plays a role in these situations. Some say that reacting to activity can strengthen whatever is causing it, almost like feeding it energy. But others argue the opposite, that ignoring it doesn't make it go away. It just makes it find other, more aggressive ways to be noticed. And for Nate, it doesn't stop at home, because as much as he deals with this inside his house, his workplace isn't any different. Watch this.
All right.
Good morning, ghosts. Happy Friday to you guys, too. Well, I don't really see anything out of place or kind of... Everything looks... Oh. I could feel that. I could feel that. Did I offend you by saying good morning? That's different. All right. I take back the good morning then. Oh, okay. We're gonna do this now. All right. I take back good morning then. Jesus Christ. Well, now the knocking on the walls has started once again. Just figure out, turn the camera on and see if I can catch it. Because, I mean, it was every wall. Like, and it's inside because when it did it on this wall, this and the chains were slightly swaying. So that tells me I wish I can understand what whatever this is wanted.
At the cemetery where he works, something can be heard banging against the walls of the garage over and over again. Not random noises, but heavy, deliberate impacts, like something trying to get his attention from the other side. Some believe this could be tied to the environment itself. Cemeteries are often associated with residual energy, places where emotions, grief, and history linger. Others think it could be something more direct, something that may have attached itself to Nate, following him between locations. And then there's one of the strangest things he's come across at work. Watch.
We have this morning. Just one. No other ones. Just one single claw print or weird handprint. Fingers are super long. They look a little sharp on the edge, like small scratches underneath. And there is It's almost like it was jumping up there. But I don't see anything.
On the floor, there's a deep claw-like marks. Just one, as if something appeared, dragged across the surface once, and vanished. Some viewers even claimed to hear whispers toward the end of the clip, though no one could clearly make out what was being said. So what could leave a mark like that? This one remains unsolved. In this next video, a father shares an experience that completely changed the way he sees his own home. For some time, there had been small things he couldn't fully explain, moments where he thought he heard movement late at night, or faint sounds coming from parts of the house that should have been empty. Nothing too obvious, just enough to make him uneasy, but not enough to convince himself something was wrong, until one night, he suddenly woke up to the sound of his son crying, not a soft whimper, but the kind of crying that makes you get up immediately. Without thinking twice, he rushed out of his room to check on him, but something didn't feel right, so he decided to check the camera. Watch closely.
No. Good. No.
You can hear it clearly, a child crying, but then something else happens. A figure moves past, and for a brief moment, it looks like the shape of a child. Yet, something about it feels off. The movement isn't natural, the timing doesn't match the crying, and the presence itself feels separate from the sound. And this is where things start to get really disturbing, because when he finally checked on his son was fine. Not crying, not awake, just sleeping, which raises a terrifying possibility. Some viewers believe this could be a case of something imitating familiar sounds to draw attention, possibly to lure someone out of their room. It's a theory often mentioned in cases where voices or cries are heard, but don't match any real person in the house. Others think it could be a shadow figure manifesting briefly, using sound and movement together to make its presence known. But whatever it was, it knew exactly what would get his attention. So if that wasn't his son crying, then what was it? I'll let you be the judge. Now, in this next clip, Isaac, the man living in that old property with 2 haunted sheds, a place already known for strange activity that seems to grow worse over time, shares an update on his current situation. On this particular day, Isaac was doing a live stream, going about things normally, when a strange sound suddenly caught his attention. It wasn't loud, but it was enough to make him stop mid-sentence and go check it out. Watch this.
Y'all heard it too? Y'all heard it too? Because I know I heard something. I know I'm not going crazy. I'm standing right here with y'all. I'm standing right here with y'all. My hands. My hands. I'm standing right here with y'all. Just burn the whole house at this point. I can't, they ain't got nowhere to live. Fuck. Oh. Ah. Ooh. Ow. Oh. Hit my leg. I hit my knee so bad. Oh my God, that hurt. Oh.
Isaac had previously explained that this room used to belong to the grandfather who owned the land, and according to family members, he always preferred warm temperatures. It was something very specific about him, something only people close to him would know. And just to rule out any easy explanations, Isaac made it clear during the live stream that the other remote was in the living room, and the remotes don't control each other, something he had tested before when he once misplaced one of them. So if no one was in the room, and no remote was being used, then what turned it on? Some viewers believe this could be the grandfather's presence, something familiar, almost routine, repeating what he used to do when he was alive. But others aren't so convinced, because what happens next changes the tone completely. Tired of everything happening around him, Isaac eventually decided to bless the house, and for a few days, things were quiet. Almost too quiet, until this happened. Watch.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Like I said, I've left the living room and I've officially moved into the bedroom now, and it's... What the hell? Well, well, I was gonna say, that it's been pretty calm all day. Somebody did ask me if they blessed the sheds, and the answer is no. They actually didn't. For some reason, my landlord was pretty adamant about leaving the sheds alone. We did the furthest one where the memorial is, but the one near the house and the one with the car in it, she was absolutely adamant that that would not be blessed, that would not be touched, and so we didn't touch it. I didn't ask any questions. Her reaction wasn't like mean or anything. She was just like, yeah, I don't like that's not a good idea. Almost kind of like, nah, just leave it alone type of thing. So, I mean, other than that, it's been a really good day. It's been a really damn good day, to be perfectly honest with you. Why are my windows so foggy? Look at this. Look how foggy my windows are. Look, these two. Can you even see it? I don't even know if you can see it. It's like mad condensation. Why is there so much condensation on my flipping window? I didn't run. Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say, to be perfectly honest with you, but guess I'll go ahead and finish getting ready for work. Watching Wicked while I get dressed. Alright, talk to you later.
A door suddenly closes on its own, the light shuts off, and for those listening closely with headphones, some claim they can hear a faint voice saying, "Go away," And that's what really unsettled people. Because if that voice is real, then whatever is there doesn't just exist. It has intent. Some viewers believe this might be a reaction to the blessing itself. There's a theory that if a space is only partially cleansed, whatever is there can simply move to the uncleansed areas. And in Isaac's case, that would be the sheds. And there's another layer to this. Isaac mentioned he wasn't allowed to cleanse the sheds, which raises a disturbing possibility. If something is tied to those sheds, and you cleanse only the house, then you're not removing it, you're cornering it. And according to many who study these cases, that can make whatever's there more aggressive. So now the question is, was that the grandfather making his presence known? Or was it something else entirely? Something that doesn't want Isaac on that property anymore? You decide. In the following video, a man named Moses and his family were on their way home one evening when his daughter insisted they stop by a small playground near their house. It was a simple request, just a few minutes to play before heading in. Reluctantly, he agreed. The kid played, laughed, and enjoyed the quiet moment. But as time passed, something about the place began to feel off. The kind of uneasiness you can't explain, like being watched without seeing anyone. Then, just as they were about to leave, Moses saw it clearly. Someone was there, hiding. He turned his camera toward a nearby tree and started calling out, asking whoever was there to show themselves. And then, it did. Watch.
No te vas a golpear en la resbaladilla cuando te bajes. ¿Me bajo? Sí. Ah. ¡Ey, Dana! Mira, Dana, ven. Vénganse para acá. Mira, cheque, a ver, miren el árbol aquel. No, yo, la neta, te lo juro que yo miraba algo. Como que se asomaba. A ver, venga. Ya me dio miedo. No, es que yo miré algo, neta. No pasa nada. No, mi amor, no pasa nada, ven. No era nada, ven. ¿Qué? ¿Qué es? No sé, no. Irga, sí se miró. ¡Hey! ¿Quién está ahí? Yo sí miré, alcancé a ver algo. Mira, ¿te checaste? ¿Viste? A ver. Oh, mira.
¿Qué es eso? Ay, no.
¡Hey! ¡Lujo! ¡Asómate!
Something peeks from behind the tree, not once, but twice, just enough to confirm that they weren't alone. At that moment, the family didn't wait to find out more. They quickly left, trying to brush it off with nervous laughter as they walked away. But after posting the video, the comments made things worse. People began sharing their own experiences about that same playground, especially after sunset. Some claimed they had seen figures standing near the trees, watching silently until noticed. Others described hearing footsteps behind them with no one there, or catching glimpses of something ducking out of sight the moment they turned to look. A few even said the place feels completely normal during the day, but changes the moment it starts getting dark, as if something else uses that space when no one is supposed to be there. So what was hiding behind that tree? For now, this one remains a mystery. In this next video, Chris and his wife are trying to finally settle an argument that's been going on for a long time. Both of them have been experiencing strange things in their home, but they don't agree on what's causing it. Chris leans toward logical explanations. Faulty wiring, loose fixtures, anything that can be explained. His wife, on the other hand, believes there's something else in the house, something they can't see but can definitely feel. So to settle it once and for all, they installed cameras everywhere. One night, while they were asleep, the cameras caught this. Watch. The stove turns on by itself, as if someone physically turned it on. Up until this point, many viewers believed the activity in their home might be tied to something harmless, possibly even a child's spirit, especially based on earlier clips where objects were lightly moved or knocked over. But after seeing this, people started to think differently, because this isn't just movement. This is dangerous. Something that could have easily caused a fire. And that's why some believe this might not be something playful or harmless anymore, but something more aggressive, something with intent. And for a while, all the activity seemed to center around one place, the kitchen. Take a look at this. This doesn't look like it slipped, looks like something deliberately pushed it. According to Chris, this has become part of their daily routine. They go to bed with everything in place and wake up to the kitchen in complete disarray, cabinets disturbed, items out of place, forcing them to clean up every single morning. At this point, it's no longer about whether something is happening, it's about what is doing it and why the kitchen. What do you think? The following clip is about a family we've talked about on this channel before, and if you remember their story, then you already know things got pretty unsettling the first time around. Here's a quick rundown. It all began on random nights when their daughter would suddenly wake up crying, and while they were trying to calm her down, they'd hear someone knocking on their front door. It went on for several nights until the father finally decided to check, and the moment he opened that door, there was a figure standing right outside. After that encounter, the knocking stopped, but the house wasn't the same. Strange movements, electronics acting up, little things happening that didn't feel like coincidences. They prayed, they waited, and after a few months the house finally settled. No knocking, no shadows, no disturbances. For a while it seemed like whatever had shown up that night had moved on. But now, months later, the pattern seems to be starting all over again. Watch this.
Vente. Me están tocando.
Sí. La niña empezó a llorar.
Ya no haga mucho ruido para ver quién es. No prendas. ¿Cómo rápido? Está bien inquieta, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Ya son casi las 3 de la mañana. ¿Dónde están las llaves? Hoy. Ahí quédate, espérame. No hay nadie. No hay nadie. No, uy, otra vez. ¿Quién será? No es nadie, Ceci. Yo creo que ya nos subimos a dormir. Ya. Vámonos. Vámonos porque igual le voy a enseñar la hora. Siempre pasa lo mismo. Miren. Son casi las 3 de la mañana. 25. Siempre hace lo mismo, ¿verdad? Ya vamos a... Voy a cerrar otra vez.
This time, they knew better than to open the door. They didn't want to repeat the same mistake, but one night, while his wife was trying to put their baby girl to sleep, the house security camera picked up something they never expected to see. Watch this.
Sí, mira, quiero que observes bien este video y me digas qué te parece. Puede ser cualquier cosa, pudo ser una persona, pero realmente con seguridad no te sé qué decir. Observa los movimientos de mi hija de 4 meses, como ya está casi dormida y ahorita en un ratito como que se altera. El video no tiene audio, así que por eso se lo estoy relatando. Vean ahí cómo se alteró mi hija y ve directamente hacia el portón. Miren, ahí está observando, ahí se asomó algo. Vean eso. Vean lo extraño que el color de piel que tiene eso, vean. Y mi hija ahí está alterada y si se dan cuenta, no deja de mirar hacia el portón. Vean, mi hija está mirándolo. Ahí se volteó y eso se desvaneció. Bastante extraño.
If you take a good look at the footage, the little girl is completely calm at first, just resting, until something shifts. Out of nowhere, she gets upset and she starts crying, like she's reacting to something we can't see. And if you look at the door, a faint figure seems to be peeking inside. The father said he couldn't place the shape at all, and what made it worse is that he never saw anything walk away. 1 second the figure was there, and the next, it wasn't. No footsteps, no movement, no shadows trailing off. Just there, then gone. And with everything they've experienced before, people began to wonder if this was the same presence that stood outside their door months ago, or if something completely new had entered the picture. Then, around 2 a.m., their daughter started crying again. But this time, it wasn't the knocking, it was something far worse. Proof that whatever they'd been dealing with wasn't outside anymore. It was inside the house. Have a look.
No digas mamadas. No. ¿Qué dijo? ¿Eh? ¿Qué dijo? No mames, güey. Se me va a apagar. Está hablando. No, güey, no, la verga. No mames, no chingues. Se puso feo. Raza. Se puso feo, les dije. No mames, güey.
It didn't take long before the knocking returned too, and when it came back, it wasn't random or occasional anymore. It happened every single night, like something determined, something trying to wear them down. Imagine living with that, knowing it's coming, knowing you can't stop it, and counting down the seconds until it starts again. Eventually, even though he knew exactly what happened the last time, he started opening doors, but only the doors inside. And what happened next felt like going from bad to something much worse, almost like stepping out of the frying pan and straight into the fire. Watch.
No sé si se escuche. Oigan, como si estuvieran en la parte de enfrente. No mames. Son las 2 de la mañana. Uy, cabrón. Voy a buscar las llaves. No mames, está acá enfrente, ¿eh? Uy. ¿Cómo? No mames. Ah, cabrón. No mames, cabrón.
The activities in the house escalated after that night, but this time the knocking didn't stop. And you know what they say. When the knocking refuses to end, it usually means whatever is outside isn't trying to leave, it's trying to come in. And in situations like this, people believe persistent knocking is a sign that the presence has grown stronger, more intentional, almost desperate for access. It got so bad that it began waking the entire family every single night. At this point, they started to believe that not opening the main door wasn't protecting them from anything, because strange things were still happening inside the house even on nights they kept the door shut. But at least if they open it, the knocking would stop for a few hours, just enough peace to reach the morning. So reluctantly, they fell into a routine. Every time the knocking returned, the father would open the door just to make it stop, until one night he walked toward the entrance expecting the same pattern, but instead saw something deeply unsettling. Watch this.
Johnny, están tocando.
¿Ah?
Están tocando.
¿Quién es?
Nadie,
¿Están tocando?
Sí.
Ah, sí, no manches.
Escucha.
Otra vez, güey, a ver. Dame, a ver, aguanta. Espérame aquí, aguántame.
Sí.
Otra vez. Son las 3 de la mañana, gente. Son casi las 3 de la mañana. ¿Qué quieres? ¿Qué es lo que quieres? Deja de molestar. Quiero que te largues. ¿Qué es eso? Oh, no manches. Oh, no manches. Ceci.
This wasn't a neighbor, this wasn't a prank. What he saw looked dark and full of intent, the kind of thing that doesn't accidentally show up at your door. And when you connect this moment to everything else, the figure peeking inside the house, the child crying at unseen things, the sudden electronic malfunctions, the rocking chair moving on its own, the doll moving, it all begins to feel like one presence that finally revealed its true form. Now the family is actively seeking help from anyone who can make sense of all this. But while they search for answers, the knocking hasn't stopped. They still open the door sometimes, but now with extreme caution, because they never know what might be standing there.
Mira. Y el chiquito no.
Mira, no mames.
¡Vámonos de esta casa!
Ya, yo voy grabando.
Tranquila. ¿Quién anda ahí?
To make matters worse, the electricity in the house hasn't been the same since the night they saw that strange figure. Lights flicker, appliances glitch, and even their older kid is getting tired of living in a place that feels more haunted with every passing night. In the next clip they posted, things took a turn none of them were prepared for. What used to happen strictly at night, the knocking, the footsteps, the strange movements, suddenly began happening in broad daylight. Objects would shift from one spot to another, heavy thudding footsteps, as if someone unseen was walking up the stairs, and random items in the house kept going missing only to reappear in odd places. Then one afternoon, the father captured something on camera that left both viewers and investigators genuinely alarmed. Watch this.
¿Estás escuchando?
Sí.
Vente. Son las 2 de la tarde, se está manifestando algo. tengo que decir que no hay nadie. Estoy completamente solo. No manches. Se acaba de abrir la puerta del cuarto. Este cuarto, pues nadie lo habita. Estoy solamente con mi hijo de 8 años. Vente, Neto, no te quedes. Se vio claramente cómo se abrió la puerta sola y no hay ni viento. De hecho, está cerrada la ventana, todo está cerrado. No, vámonos.
Even with every window shut and all doors locked, one door slowly opened on its own, like someone on the inside had gently pushed it. Many believe this was a sign the presence inside the home has grown comfortable, too comfortable, almost as if it no longer cares to hide its movements. Others think letting it in that very first night might have given it access it never should have had, and now it's roaming the entire house freely, crossing boundaries it once respected. And things have only gotten worse night after night. The family is so desperate that viewers have sent their clips to paranormal experts, hoping someone can offer answers or at least a solution to stop the constant fear they're living in. But while they wait for help, every day and every night brings a new disturbance. One night, it sounded like someone was in the kitchen, loud enough that the husband thought an intruder might have broken in. But when he went to check, this is what he found.
Oye, voy a ir a bajar,
Sí, va a ver, va a checar qué es.
Voy a ver, ahí quédate con la niña.
Sí.
Hasta se despertó, ¿va?
Sí.
No hay nadie. Por lo regular siempre se escucha como si hubiera alguien ahí en la cocina. Se escuchaba que estaban jugando con los trastes, como si estuvieran botando cosas, así bastante fuerte. Lo primero que pensé es que se habían metido a la casa. Mierda. ¿Qué hacen esos sartenes botados? Mira. Empieza a sentir un escalofrío en esta parte bastante fuerte. Voy a levantar esto. Miren cómo estaba colgado esto. ¿Qué es lo que quieres? Lárgate de aquí. ¿Por qué nos molestas? Oh, madre de Dios. ¿Qué es eso que se escucha? Lárgate de aquí. No mames, güey. Hey, la sangre de Cristo tiene poder. Sea lo que sea, no perteneces aquí. Lárgate. Necesitamos ayuda, por favor. Esto se está saliendo de control, amigos. ¿Qué es eso?
Pans scattered all across the floor, and before he could even finish placing them back, something else happened. Sudden, sharp, and terrifying. Almost like the presence wanted to make sure he knew he wasn't alone in that kitchen. At this point, whatever is haunting this home is no longer subtle, no longer shy, no longer hiding in the shadows. It's active, bold, and possibly growing stronger. And before this turns into something violent, the family is pleading for help, hoping someone can intervene before things get even worse. Now, in this next clip, the popular ghost hunter Ian went deep into the Minnesota woods, and on this particular night, he was making his way toward an isolated cemetery rumored to be one of the most haunted places in the entire region. He was completely alone out there, and even he admitted that he was starting to freak out.
Okay. I'm coming towards you, whoever you are. I hear somebody walking up and down this trail. Could you walk towards me? Oh my God! Holy shit! Oh my God! I'm sorry. You almost gave me a heart attack. I know I asked you to do that, but damn! Holy moly, I didn't think you were gonna actually do it.
Vicksburg Cemetery sat hidden in the wilderness, untouched, overgrown, and swallowed by trees. Local legend claimed that one gravestone in particular would glow at night, and that every spring it sprouted fresh flowers that dripped what looked like blood. It was the kind of place that felt unsettling even in daylight. And yet, because it was Ian, he chose to spend the entire night there anyway. The place had the kind of heavy stillness you'd expect from a cemetery buried deep in the woods, but as he walked around with his flashlight sweeping through the darkness, he saw something that stopped him. One entire grave had been left in total shambles. Stone cracked apart, soil disturbed, like something had forced its way out or clawed its way in. And in typical Ian fashion, instead of backing away, he tried communicating with whatever spirit might still be lingering there.
Gosh. This whole grave is in shambles. I'm sorry that your tombstone has been destroyed. What happened? Is it vandalized? Whoa. Okay, I just heard you.
At this moment, a woman's whisper intelligently responds to my question.
In my left hand, I have a green light. It won't harm you in any way. All it will simply do is detect your presence. If you're still here, could you tell me your name? Because unfortunately, there's really no way for me to tell. I really don't want to dig around your grave shambles, because I don't want to damage it any further. You don't have to be shy, ma'am. As I said, I'm just here to visit. I'm here with nothing but respect. I'm getting eaten up by mosquitoes right now, but that's okay. It's worth it. If I could just hear your voice one more time. Whoa. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I heard that. I heard you once again. Whoa, you just drained my battery too. Dang, dude. All right. I'm gonna review this when I get home, and I'll know your message.
Later, after reviewing his footage, he realized that the voice captured on camera sounded like it was saying the word foreign. That one detail bothered him enough to dig deeper, and when he researched the grave, he found out it belonged to a woman named Vesta Black Davis, buried alone with no family members anywhere near her. A sad and lonely revelation, but it raised an even darker question. If no one visited her and no one cared for the site, then why was her grave the only one shattered? For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following clip was recorded inside Kyle's house, a place we featured several times on this channel. For the past few weeks, things have been unusually quiet, but as many people familiar with paranormal cases will tell you, long quiet periods don't always mean the activity is gone. Sometimes they mean something is building up. One morning, Kyle woke up to the sound of voices coming from somewhere inside his house. Watch closely. At first, he did what most people would do. He searched the house room by room, trying to find a logical source. No TV was on, no phone, no neighbors, nothing that could explain what he was hearing. But when he reached the basement door, things became even more unsettling. Viewers who analyzed the clip claim they heard a young girl's voice whispering, "He's coming." But Kyle doesn't have any children, and no kids were anywhere near the house at the time. Several people urged Kyle not to respond verbally, especially not in the moment, a common warning when unexplained voices are heard, as acknowledging them is believed by some to strengthen the activity. For now, Kyle hasn't been able to explain what he heard that morning, just a voice that shouldn't have been there, and a house that, after weeks of silence, suddenly felt very. In this next video, a security guard shares more updates from his workplace, a place where strange figures have been showing up far too often to ignore. In earlier clips, he documented unexplained figures passing, and he thought it was going to be a one-off activity, but it happened again. One night during his shift, he noticed a white figure moving through the building once again. Instead of brushing it off, he decided to stand up and follow it, hoping to finally get a clearer look. Watch closely.
The storm is so bad that ghost had to go upstairs. Look at the bottom right. Look. There you go. Look at that. It was cold. I'm like, oh shit. I wanted to follow it and feel. See, I'm trying to feel, like, follow the cold breeze. I saw it going towards the elevator. So I went there. It was actually a cold breeze towards the elevator, then it just stopped. So I'm like, damn. Shit. So I walked back, thinking the motherfucker was gone. I guess it didn't want me to follow it. So I'm like, okay. Then something touched me. I'm like, what the? Something touched me. I'm still trying to see, like, where is it at? Like, it vanished, so how is it still touching me or something? I don't know. It's creepy. So I'm like, okay. Well, at least I saw it and followed it for a little moment. Then it went to vanish. I'm like, oh, yeah. I was like, go ahead and take your ass upstairs and get warm.
Aside from briefly touching him, there haven't been any violent attacks, scratches, or aggressive behavior. This led many to believe this could be a non-hostile or friendly spirit, possibly unaware of its surroundings or simply repeating a routine it once had in life. But it happened again. On another night shift, the guard spotted the same faint white figure again, only this time it came through the door. And as the figure moved closer, he described feeling a sudden cold breeze, even though the building's temperature hadn't changed. Have a look.
I saw that motherfucker again. Just look real close. Just look. It's coming from the door, from outside. See it? It's faint. It's real faint. I'm looking at it, I'm like, hold on, let me feel if it's real. It's cold too. When I put my hand up there by it, it's real cold. Then it went back there towards the door, all the way back there in the back. I'm like, whoa. I wanted to see it went close to me or some shit. I'm like, also ghosts, because ghosts do give out like a cold chill, like when you put like it's like a cold breeze there. I'm like, okay. Shit, I saw it came from outside too. I'm like, damn. And I wasn't even freaked out. I just wanted to see how it felt. I was like, that motherfucker cold in the mud. So I saw it. That shit is crazy, man. It's been a while since I've seen this, so like I said, it come every now and then, but you have to look real hard though, real hard to see it. It came from here and it went real slow. Just look real hard when you rewind the video.
In paranormal belief, sudden cold spots are often associated with spirits because it's said they draw energy from their surroundings to manifest or move. Many claim that when a temperature drops without explanation, it can signal a spirit passing through or attempting to interact. Despite multiple encounters, the figure has never spoken, it hasn't shown its face, and it hasn't revealed why it keeps appearing in the same workplace night after night. Until more updates are shared, this case remains unsolved. Now, this next video is about David, the man who bought a doll and almost immediately realized he'd made a serious mistake. At first, David believed the activity was tied directly to the doll, so he did what many advised. He locked it inside a cage and placed a Bible on top, hoping that would contain whatever presence was attached to it. But the activity in his house didn't stop. In fact, many viewers believe that while the doll may have acted as a trigger, whatever came with it may have already spread throughout the house long before it was locked away. One night, around 4 a.m., David woke up to get some work done, but as he finished and was about to head to bed, he began hearing something that immediately put him on edge. Listen closely.
Están escuchando, ¿no? Son pasos, esos son pasos. Y los estoy escuchando, ya van 2 veces que los escucho. Entonces la segunda vez dije, ok, termino de hacer la cama y empiezo a grabar. Ok, ya escucharon, ¿no? Bueno. Entonces, ¿por qué tengo la luz así? Porque me duermo con la luz de rojo, y ya está. Y para los que digan, esas cruces que no sé qué, son adornos, nada más. Entonces, ya encendí la luz del celular, ¿ok? Porque ahorita todo está apagado. ¿Qué voy a hacer? Ahí se escucha.
It sounded unmistakably like footsteps, and David was completely alone. In the same video, David addresses something many commenters had been focusing on: the red lighting in his room and the crosses on the wall. He explains that the red light helps him sleep, and the crosses are simply decorative ornaments, not ritualistic, not symbolic. But viewers aren't convinced. Many argued that red lighting is often associated with heightened emotional states or altered perception, while others insisted that symbolic objects, even when decorative, can still act as spiritual triggers, especially in an already active environment. Trying to locate the source of the noise, David followed the sound, and it didn't surprise anyone when the footsteps led him straight to the room where the doll was locked. But what shocked viewers most wasn't the room. It was what appeared just before he reached it: a face, barely visible, peeking out from the darkness, watching him. That single moment escalated everything, because now there were 3 separate concerns: the doll locked in the cage, the red light, and the cross ornaments, and now a visible presence that wasn't hiding anymore. David shared that this wasn't the first time he heard footsteps. One night while he was home alone, he heard footsteps so convincing that he genuinely believed someone had broken into his house. Have a look.
Se escuchó que alguien venía así, tuc, 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 hacia mí. Y fue cuando cerré la puerta.
After that incident, viewers advised him to prepare for the next time it happened, specifically by using talcum powder, a method some believe can reveal unseen movement through footprints. So when it happened again, David knew exactly what to do. Watch this carefully.
Talco para pies. No me importa usarlo todo. Bueno, amigas, bueno, amigos, así quedó. Ya está. No fue mucho lo que quedaba, ya se vació esto. Voy a dejarlo así, qué sé yo, toda la tarde y toda la noche de mañana, a ver qué pasa. Es decir, en 24 horas reviso. Ya está, antes de voy a encender la luz de esto. Todo eso está el talco, ¿ok? Sí se ve bien creepy, ¿no? Ah, cosa curiosa. El rosario de la Biblia ya no... A ver, así. Ya no encuentro el rosario de la Biblia. Y si se dan cuenta, la muñeca se volvió a mover.
As he pours the powder, something else happens. A voice can be heard. And for those familiar with David's story, this voice is disturbingly familiar. From the very beginning, David has described hearing a voice that sounds distressed, sometimes crying, sometimes calling his name, sometimes sounding like it's asking for forgiveness, as if whatever is there isn't just present, but suffering. Then, David noticed something else. The doll had changed position inside the cage, and the rosary he'd placed on top of the Bible was gone. At this point, even viewers couldn't agree on what was truly responsible. Some still blame the doll, others insist the house itself may already be haunted. A few believe it's the environment, the lighting, the symbols, the attention, feeding whatever is there. And then there's the face, because once something is watching you, it's no longer contained. So what do you think is causing all of this? The doll, the red light, the crosses, or the house itself? You be the judge. In the following video, a woman shares footage after more than 2 weeks of unsettling experiences, incidents that have slowly pushed her toward one frightening conclusion, that something may have attached itself to her. Watch this carefully.
I'm recording this to see if I can catch it on camera this time, but I'm home alone for the night and I swear I've been hearing noises. Usually this happens, but this time it turns off. Please tell me that you can hear it.
To a lot of people, this might not be a classic attachment case. Attachments usually don't begin loudly, they start subtly. A constant feeling of being watched, sudden emotional shifts that don't feel like your own, exhaustion that doesn't improve with rest, recurring intrusive thoughts, vivid dreams involving the same presence, or a heavy sensation in the chest or shoulders, as if something is always nearby. So this might be something else, a mimic. Mimic cases often present differently. Instead of targeting emotions or energy first, mimics focus on imitation. They copy familiar voices, repeat phrases the person has heard before, and create situations designed to provoke a response. And that's where the most important rule comes in. The number one rule when dealing with a mimic is this: do not respond and do not acknowledge it in any way. No speaking back, no calling out, no asking questions, no reacting emotionally. Sometimes, while attachments tend to drain and linger quietly, mimics provoke, and once they're acknowledged, they rarely stop. Until more updates are shared, the situation remains deeply unsettling. Now, in this next video, a man is simply giving his friends and family a tour of his new apartment. Nothing unusual, just a quick walkthrough to show the space. But he captured something terrifying. Take a look. It wasn't until one of his friends decided to slow the video down and examine each room more carefully that something disturbing stood out. As he walks past one of the rooms, there appears to be a woman standing still, facing the window. She doesn't move and she didn't turn. The man insists he was completely alone while filming. No roommate, no visitor. Viewers quickly began analyzing the footage frame by frame. Some believe it could be a reflection or a trick of lighting, but others pointed out that the figure appears to have depth and form, standing in a spot where no mirror or reflective surface should be. The posture is also unsettlingly natural, like someone quietly observing the outside world. So, what do you do when your new apartment already has someone living rent-free in it? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. This next video was captured by Nate, a man whose dog has been trying to warn him that something isn't right inside the house. One night, while Nate was home alone watching TV, this happened. Watch closely.
So I'm here watching football, and this light keeps going on and off. I was just up there going to the bathroom. Like, I checked the bulb, and the switch is right there. It just started doing this.
If it's just the lights turning on and off, some might say he's overreacting. Electrical issues happen, but when you factor in everything else that's already happened in this house, the situation becomes much harder to dismiss. We've heard whispers underneath several of Nate's past videos, faint, low, and not coming from the TV. There's also the clip where a knife was thrown across the room, even though no one was standing near it. And then there's his dog, who refuses to go into certain corners of the house, freezing in place, growling, or leaving the room altogether. And when multiple signs start stacking up, sound, movement, objects being thrown, and an animal clearly reacting, it begins to feel like something is escalating. For now, Nate hasn't been able to explain what's going on inside his home. So until more answers or updates surface, this one remains completely unsolved. Now in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian returns to what many locals consider the most haunted house in Minnesota, the infamous Boyd House. The home belonged to the Ehart family, Fred and Minnie, and was originally built back in 1901. As Ian entered one of the rooms, something immediately caught his attention. A light suddenly turned on by itself. At that moment, Ian knew he needed answers. Was this Fred, Minnie, or something else entirely? So he began asking questions.
Minnie, was that you that I heard earlier? Making all those noises? Turning on that closet light? Was that you? I feel them moving again. Thank you. I think they uncrossed. I hope you don't mind me visiting. It is a lovely place. You know, I keep coming back for a reason, right? What the heck was that? That sounded like a female voice, almost. It was like really faint. Minnie, is that you? There it is again. Okay. That is really, really spooky sounding. It sounds like a woman, like humming. Like,
Was that Minnie, the former owner many believe still wanders the house, known for moving objects and interacting with the environment? Or has something else found its way into the Boyd house, drawn in by years of attention and investigations? The following video is about Nate, who works at a cemetery, and for weeks now, he's believed something followed him home. Strange sounds in his house at night, footsteps on the basement stairs, objects being thrown in the dark. His working theory is that whatever attached itself to him did so on the grounds of this cemetery, and so on his second day back, he arrived hoping, genuinely hoping, that it had finally stayed behind. He walks through the maintenance garage, a cluttered space filled with zero-turn mowers, brooms, and landscaping equipment, narrating quietly to himself, saying he hadn't heard any walking around his house the night before, no knives or scissors being thrown, and that maybe, just maybe, it had finally let go of him. Watch.
Alright, so this is my second day up here at the cemetery. Now it is still early on, but I will say, after opening up the cemetery yesterday, when I got home last night, I did not notice any activity. I know it's only been a night, but I didn't hear any walking around my house last night. I didn't hear any walking on the basement stairs. Most importantly, no knives or scissors being thrown. So I am hoping and staying hopeful that whatever was attached when I closed the cemetery last year would have, oh shit. Okay. Hoping that whatever attached itself to me followed me back here and found peace and will stay here. I told it has no permission to follow me home ever again. Holy shit. This. Okay. This.
A bow saw crashes off its rack and lands in the middle of the concrete floor, loud enough to make him swear out loud, loud enough to stop him mid-sentence. He picks it up and hangs it back on the wooden rack where it had been stored, pointing to the exact spot it came from. His breathing throughout is audibly shaky. For those familiar with poltergeist cases, displaced objects are one of the most commonly documented forms of activity. Not subtle enough to explain away, but not violent enough to be immediately threatening, more like a signal, something acknowledging it's still there. What's harder to dismiss is the timing. He had just finished saying he hoped it had found peace and stayed behind. Then the saw hit the floor. The following day, he returns to the same garage at dusk, this time because something caught his eye on the way in. Watch.
Alright, so I'm just getting here at the cemetery, and as I was pulling in, parked over there, as I was pulling in, I saw this light flicker, and it looked like somebody was walking in front of the window, so I wanted to start recording as soon as I okay, that's the window there. What the f is that? Holy shit, what the f is that? I could have swore I just heard something. Okay, so it was that window right there. And I mean, you can see there's a cement mixer in front of that. Tools. So, yeah, it's not like you can just get back there and, holy shit. I could have swore I heard somebody call my name or something as soon as I walked in. Holy fuck. Let's open this up. Yes, I'm here. Hello?
The moment he steps into the dark interior and identifies the window where he'd seen a light flicker, a clear, disembodied male whisper responds, something that sounds unmistakably like yeah, yeah, followed almost immediately by a second, lower, guttural sound. He reacts with audible panic. Later in the same clip, a loud shuffling erupts from off-camera, then a sharp bang as if something struck the metal door, and finally a distinct disembodied voice asks what sounds like a direct question, to which he responds out loud, "Yes, I'm here." What investigators would classify as EVP, electronic voice phenomena, typically refers to voices captured on recording that weren't audible to the person present at the time. What makes this harder to dismiss is that he heard it in real time and responded to it. Two separate voices, two separate moments, both apparently aware of him. And then there's the third visit. He arrives again at dawn, and before he can even finish explaining to the camera that nobody is inside the locked garage. This happens. Watch.
Alright guys, so I just pulled in to the cemetery again, and second day in a row I saw what looked like just a head peeking through that window. Yesterday I saw the same thing, but I caught the lights flickering. So I want to show everybody there's nobody in here. I'm unlocking it. It was that window right there. But I'm going to shut the door, turn the light on. Nobody here. As always, it was that window right there. But as you can see, there's cement mixer over there, boards over there. Like it's not. Jesus. Okay. Sledgehammer. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Good morning to you too. Glad you found your way back here. And like I told you, you're not allowed to follow me to my home. This is your home, or go wherever, just not with me. So
A sledgehammer appears on the floor beside the white refrigerator, a spot he had just filmed as empty. And then, while he's directly addressing the entity and telling it that it's not allowed to follow him home, a second sequence of crashes erupts, a metallic bang, then a violent, prolonged crashing and dragging sound from across the workshop, loud enough to overpower his voice entirely. He ends the clip with a heavy sigh and a single muttered word. 3 separate visits. 3 separate incidents. A saw, a whisper, a sledgehammer, and then something that sounded like it was dragging equipment across the floor. Whether this is a residual presence tied to the cemetery grounds or something far more aware, the pattern across these clips suggests it isn't passive. It responds. It reacts to what he says, and so far, telling it to stay behind doesn't seem to be working. The following set of clips comes from a stretch of time that feels less like a string of isolated incidents and more like something building toward a point. The same creeping wrongness showing up across different homes, different nights, and different people, all of them left with the same uneasy question. The first clip was recorded by a man named Kyle, who was already having what he described as a wild morning, and you can hear it in his voice from the very first second. Watch.
It's coming from the garage. Okay. Is anybody up there? Honey, I gotta move the car. And what is going on outside?
If you look closely, something moved in the attic, and some people who've watched this think the simultaneous opening of the ladders points to something deliberate. Not a mechanical failure, not a fluke, but something testing access points, finding its way between floors. Skeptics, of course, say both latches could have been faulty, that old attic hardware loosens over time, and both gave way on the same morning by coincidence. That explanation is harder to hold onto when you hear how rattled he sounds. That isn't someone who thinks he forgot to close something. The next clip shifts from the physical to the personal, and it's one of the more unsettling accounts in this whole set. Kyle films from his bed at night, looking across a dimly lit room toward his closet, recounting what happened the night before. Watch.
Oh, y'all old lady ghosts need to take your ass on somewhere. Quit scaring the shit out of people in the middle of the night. Woke up last night and there was an old lady standing right there at the corner of the bed staring at me. She was doing that old woman, like, titter, you know, like, you know, like that. Scared the shit out of me. Yeah, she laughed and said, "Won't be long. Won't be long." That's what she said. Sounded like a really country old lady. Won't be long. Won't be long what? I know it wasn't a dream either because my fiance asked me, "What are you staring at?" And I lied and said nothing because I didn't want to tell her there's some creepy ass lady standing at the end of the bed. And then when I woke up this morning, I asked her, "Hey, did you ask me that last night?" And she was like, "Yeah." Giggling ass old lady. Gray hair and white nightgown, just, you know, liver spots on her arms, just creepy as shit. Nothing against old ladies either. Old ladies in general aren't creepy. Old ladies are only creepy when they're not supposed to be in your house and you open your freaking eyes and they're standing right there.
In paranormal traditions across multiple cultures, apparitions that deliver vague warnings, especially phrases tied to time, endings, or finality, are sometimes interpreted as harbingers, figures that appear specifically to deliver a message rather than to haunt a location. The specific phrasing, "won't be long," carries a weight that's hard to shake because it doesn't threaten. It just informs, and that alone is terrifying. The third clip takes things outside, onto a porch at night, where a man is watching something that clearly has him rattled. Listen closely.
I knew it wasn't crazy. What the This is insane. There it goes again. It's rocking by itself. There's no wind. I don't know if you can see. There's no wind. It just keeps doing it. There's no way. There's no way. What the fuck, yo? This is crazy.
A white rocking chair on the porch moves back and forth on its own in the dark. Steady, rhythmic, the way it would move if someone were sitting in it and gently rocking. He pans the camera to show there's no wind disturbing anything else, and then, when he turns on a bright light, both chairs on the porch go completely still. His reaction when the light comes on is what stays with you. There's no way. Skeptics will point out that a rocking chair in low light is one of the easier effects to fake with invisible fishing line, and the chair stopping the moment the light turns on could mean someone off camera let go of the string. But for others, the immediate cessation fits a different theory, that whatever presence was there reacted to the light, retreating the moment it was exposed. Rocking chairs carry a heavy weight in Southern folklore specifically, often associated with the elderly and the recently deceased, and there's something about this clip, the isolation, the night sounds, the rhythm of that motion, that makes the skeptical explanation feel just slightly less satisfying than it should. It didn't stop there. The fourth and final clip comes from a home security camera. A Wise camera, black and white night vision, timestamp reading 11:14 p.m. on March 15th of 2024. No one is visible in the house. Watch. One of the high-back chairs at the kitchen island slowly and smoothly slides backward across the floor by itself, moving steadily away from the island until it stops several feet out, and in the corner of the frame, a small cat freezes mid-groom and turns to look directly at it. The cat's reaction is what a lot of viewers latched onto. Animals are often said to perceive things before humans do, and watching it stop and track the movement of that chair as though something invisible were sitting down gives the footage a layer that's difficult to rationalize away. Taken alone, any one of these clips has an explanation you could reach for. Together, they leave you with a pattern that's harder to dismiss. Things opening on their own, voices warning of something coming, objects moving in the dark while animals watch what you can't see. What exactly is building here? This next clip comes from a home where the security camera footage has been raising serious questions. A static night vision shot of what appears to be a room, completely empty, with a white wooden rocking chair positioned in front of a bed. No wind, no open windows, no one in the room. Watch. From the very first second, the rocking chair begins to move on its own, starting with a small, almost gentle sway before building into a full, forceful rock that sustains itself for the entire duration of the clip. And that alone is terrifying. What makes it harder to dismiss is how consistent and rhythmic the motion is. Not a single jolt or wobble that might suggest a draft or vibration, but a smooth, deliberate rocking, as if someone is sitting in it. Some viewers have tried to explain it through the idea of residual energy, suggesting that certain spaces can retain fragments of past activity that replay under the right conditions. But that explanation begins to weaken when you consider what else was captured around the same time. Because near the window, something else appears. A strange figure, faint but clearly moving, positioned just outside as if it is trying to look in, lingering long enough to suggest it is not simply passing by, but observing, watching the inside of the house with a kind of stillness that feels intentional. And that single detail shifts the situation from something passive to something aware. And then, on another night, the activity escalates beyond movement and observation into something far more direct. Something that does not just exist within the space, but attempts to interact with the people living in it. Watch.
Tranquila, mamá, tranquila. Ustedes tranquilos, ¿eh? Ustedes tranquilos. Ya, tranquilo, hijo, tranquilo. No mames, cabrón. Ya, hija, ya. Híjole.
No pasa nada.
Que no me abren.
Tranquila, corazoncito.
Me pasar al cuarto. Qué sorprendente, cabrón. Déjenme pasar al cuarto, niño. A la máquina. No va a pasar nada. ¿Qué hacemos? No se ve nada en la cámara. Revisa la cámara, güey. Mi amor, ábreme.
la madre! No manches. ¿Qué pedo?
Sí, güey. Voy a bajar a ver, güey. Voy a bajar a ver.
¿Vas a bajar?
Tranquilo, tranquilo, sí.
Ala, con cuidado.
No mames, güey. No mames, cabrón. No mames. ¿Quién madre anda ahí? Uf. ¿Quién anda ahí? Ya te vi en la cámara. Mames, aquí está cerrado, señores. Aquí está cerrado, creo. Miren. Miren. La llave está acá. Y aquí también está cerrado. Oigan. No mames, está todo cerrado. ¿Es eso qué? ¿Quién de aquí? Tiene que salir.
Someone is at the door, calling out to them, using a voice that sounds familiar enough to make them pause, to listen, to question whether it could actually be someone they know, and that is where the entire situation becomes far more unsettling. This pattern aligns closely with what many describe as mimic behavior, where an entity does not immediately reveal itself, but instead listens, studies, and then reproduces voices it has heard, using that familiarity to draw attention, to create confusion, and in some cases to lure someone into responding. Until more details are shared, this remains unsolved.